Greetings, and welcome to another video. After a couple of bug fix delays, Fedora 35 has finally been released today, and so I felt the sudden urge to give it a thorough test drive, especially the Everything Edition. Let's take a look together. Fedora has for years been claiming to be one of the more innovative and yet friendly Linux distributions, and I found that to be generally a fitting description. The Everything Edition is exactly that, basically where you have a maximum choice in what package groups you would like to have on your system. This time, instead of GNOME 41, which has been covered by other Linux YouTubers pretty well, we're going to be installing my current favorite desktop, XFCE, due to its lightness and easy configurability. Without further ado, let's boot up the Everything ISO. Here's the boot media. Let's choose Install Fedora 35. Okay. Got the boot messages. Looks good. So now it's starting the Anaconda installer. There's a shell available on TTY2. Good to know. And there we are. So English language and English United States keyboard. That looks good. So we'll click continue here. Move on to the next step. So it's figuring out the best installation source here. Let's go to the installation destination and make sure that's automatic is chosen with Btrfs, home and root. And let's see, the local 10, my local 10 DHCP is already applied the correct host name of F35. So that looks good. It's got an IP address. Next, let us keep the root account disabled. Give myself the Steven account here. I'll make myself administrator. I'll give myself a password once and twice to confirm. It'll also add me to wheel since I'm now administrator. So that's good. It found the closest mirror. Let's go to the software selection here. We've got a bunch of selections, including KDE, LXDE. Let's choose XFCE. Applications, extra plugins, multimedia's there, administration tools. Let's also choose the C development tools and libraries. For building new packages, we want to. Container management, development tools. Also like some editors here, including Emacs and Vi. No servers. Headless management is handy to have. LibreOffice is a good choice for me. We'll skip the Python stuff here. Do the RPM development tools. I generally need those. System tools and sound and video seems to round out our selection for today. So we'll click Done. So yes, so we generally have an XFCE desktop requested. Our time zone is correct. Everything looks good here. So we'll start with the installation. So it's creating the Btrfs file systems. And now it's downloading 1,783 RPMs. Once that's done, it prepares the transaction so it can actually perform the installation of all those RPMs. So we're skipping over much of this. This will take some time, especially if you don't have a fast network connection or internet connection. So I'm skipping over the most painful parts for you. This video doesn't get to be too long. And, Yeah, so definitely a systemd system, for better or for worse. All right, and it's done. Let's go ahead and reboot the system, our freshly installed system, hopefully. Let's do the first choice, which is the top item. And let our new machine come up. So it looks like the setup is done, so we can finish configuration. And there's our, I believe, LightDM display manager. So I'm going to enter my password. And log in. That wallpaper looks familiar. So it uses DNF Dragora Updater to do some updating in the background. We'll let it do that. I don't like DNF Dragora. I like to avoid using that today. And let's fix the resolution to 1920 by 1080. Looks a lot better. Let me launch a terminal here. Make the font size a couple of notches bigger so you guys can see. So first things first, let's take a look at the file system table. And as you can see, we've got a couple of subvolumes, Btrfs subvolumes defined, root and home, which is a fairly sane setup. So we're running 5.14.14 Linux kernel version, which is fairly recent, compiled October 20th. Let's take a look at the swap situation. Yes, Fedora likes to, by default, use ZRAM, compressed RAM, swap, or swap to RAM. We're running XFCE, so it's fairly light, even with all the services and utilities running in the background. 578 megabytes used. Pretty light. So let's make sure we're up to date. Sudo DNF update. Let me enter my password. And it looks like we're already up to date. As I said, the ISO has just been released, so we probably should be up to date. So let's take care of snapshotting the system. Sudo mkdir /.snapshots. And then let's create the snapshot by doing sudo btrfs subvolume snapshot -r for read-only / and then /.snapshots / and we'll call the snapshot root-1, which is our full snapshot of the freshly installed system. That took very little time. So let's make sure we're read-only because we want to do a backup. So we can do that by getting the property, and as you can see, read-only equals true. That's good because now we can insert a drive and send the snapshot, which is, let's see, about 6 gigabytes snapshot. So it's a full system snapshot to an external thumb drive. So let me just plug in my thumb drive, and it's a 256 gig thumb drive, dev SDA. And so we're going to create a Btrfs or Btrfs file system on it. We'll force that. We'll label it backups. Make sure that dev SDA is formatted. Okay, looks good. It performed a full device trim. So we're ready to use that as our offline backup of our full snapshot. So we'll mount it with sudo mount /dev/sda/mount. Let's create a backup snapshot directory with sudo mkdir /mnt/backup. There, that's done. Let's clear the terminal and let's do the deed with sudo btrfs send /.snapshots /root-1. We'll pipe it to sudo btrfs receive /mount/backup and hit enter or return. And there it goes. This will take some time, so I'm skipping over that. So next I'll sudo btrfs subvolume list /mount or /mnt. As you can see, it has a top. It's under top level 5 on the thumb drive, the USB thumb drive, with backup /root-1. So we've got an offline backup should we need it. So let's go to Settings Manager here. As you can see, we've got a full complement of XFCE and other settings. Let's go to Appearance. And Fedora Everything installs a whole bunch of styles. So I'll choose Mint Y Dark Sand for the style. And also a whole bunch of icon sets here. Let's do the same thing. Mint Y Dark Sand. All right. Kind of clashes with the blue background, but oh well. As you can see, this works just fine. For more theming, check my previous video for go into depth with XFCE theming. So we got a bunch of programs installed here. DNF Dragora I'd like to avoid. I'd like to stick with the terminal today. A whole bunch of accessories, full complement. Genie for the development editor. So yes, we are indeed running Fedora 35. 4.16 is the XFCE version. So they use Ristretto Image Viewer, Clausmail, Firefox, Pigeon Internet Messenger, Tiger VNC Viewer, Transmission. That looks good. For torrents. Bunch of little multimedia stuff. We've got LibreOffice installed as we requested earlier. So let me launch Writer. Yeah, running version 7.2. Let's check the subversions here. Running 7.2.2.2. Fairly recent. Very nice. Okay. Under System. The usual suspects, nothing too unusual. Okay. Pretty good. So, next, let's sudo dnf search Btrfs and see what's available here, because if you don't want to do this by hand, the backups, I suggest you take a look at Btrfs, a tool for creating snapshots and remote backups of subvolumes. Also, I recommend you look at Btrfs Manager for managing snapshots and balancing file systems and more, as it says. So you can use those applications if you'd like to automate this stuff, automate backups and snapshots. Let's launch Firefox and let's enable Fusion, RPM Fusion, by going to rpmfusion.org. So we're running Fedora, so we can do the graphical setup, but that pulls in that DNF graphical utility, and I'd rather avoid doing that. I'd rather use the command line, because this is so top-heavy, crash-happy, and RAM-hungry. Let's just do copy pasta here and do it the traditional DNF method of adding these for free and non-free repositories for RPM Fusion. And it's already done. Good. So we've got some links here: Fedora Docs, Fedora Magazine, Fedora Project, user communities, Red Hat, and free content. So let's take a look at what Fedora's mission is all about. Mission and foundations. So they talk about what Fedora is, or perhaps redundant, what is Fedora all about. It's all about freedom, friends, features, and first. So it discusses what freedom, friends, And features. And first means, well, first is committed to innovation. Yeah, you could have not surprised me more with that. Just kidding. All right. So yeah, you get the feel for the thoughts behind Fedora. Let's do sudo dnf install neofetch. So it pulls in the new RPM Fusion repositories and syncs up with them. Yeah, let's go ahead and install all these packages. Looks like all the repositories are up to date. So we're having a good experience today in terms of speed. So let's run neofetch. And so we're running Fedora 35. Kernel is 5.14.14. Yeah, XFCE 4.16, the default window manager theme, and Mint White Dark Sand for the theme and icons. And with Firefox running in the background, we're just using 1 GB, give or take, of RAM. So that's still very light. Very good performance. So let's check the status of Cockpit with sudo systemctl status cockpit.socket. So yeah, the software is installed, but it's inactive or dead. So let's enable it with sudo systemctl enable -- now cockpit.socket. There we go. So that service has been enabled. Let's check the status. Yes, it's listening, active on socket 1990. Or port 9090, rather. Get those things mixed up all the time. I'm just pathetic. So let's check to make sure our firewall is configured properly with sudo firewall-command add service cockpit. And that was successful. And let's reload the configuration to make sure it took. That was also successful. Let's check our IP address. So it's 10.1.10.180. That's my local 10 internal secure subnet. So let's see if we can log in to Cockpit. So it's 10.1.10.180:1990. And yes, of course, we don't have this configured properly. That's all right. We trust ourselves. Username is Steven. Password logs us in to Cockpit. You can turn on the administrative access too if you'd like to do system administration through Cockpit. It's a huge area and topic, Cockpit itself, so we're just not going to go through everything here. We're just going to poke around. So here's some logs. Check the storage. Our backup thumb drive is still in there. Yeah. So our network configuration here, 10.1.10.180 / we have a /27 subnet. That's me. And root is still disabled, I assume. Services will show us everything that's running. Again, if you look at everything that's running on a default Fedora install, the RAM usage is actually very minimal, in my opinion, with XFCE. So you can filter by active state, file state. Yeah. Okay. So there it is. I think we've got a good start on a running Fedora 35 workstation. No single little video can do all the Fedora technologies justice, but let's just say that there's a large and talented team behind the senior citizen distro, and it shows. So if you've made it this far, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, please smash that like button and subscribe to support this growing channel. And don't forget to click on the notification bell as well so you won't miss out. Until next time, be well.